Happy Monday. Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee Chats, where we talk about your motivation for your business. I'm Jessica Prater with J. Prater Consulting, and I'm so excited about the guest that we're going to have this morning. Dr. Kristen Donnelly works with Abbey Research. She is in her words, half of the good doctors of Abbey Research. She investigates organizational culture and teaches leaders to lead with intention. I had a fantastic conversation. We had a hard time holding it down to 15 minutes. Actually, we signed off and talked for so much longer. She's doing a lot of really interesting things in the world. So I'll turn it over to our conversation with Dr. Kristen Donnelly. All right, so Kristen, thank you so much for being here today for Coffee Chat Monday.
My joy. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. So Kristen, I have to ask you, you're a Philly native. If I were to meet you up there in Philadelphia and we were to grab coffee at your local favorite coffee shop, what would you be ordering?
Well, first of all, we'd be going to La Colombe, which is my favorite local chain, which you have their coffee if you've ever been on an American Airlines flight in the last couple of years. So that's
cool.
one of our local chains. I love it. And I'd be having their draft latte,
Very cool.
which is my favorite of their drinks.
Cool. Is it sweet? Is it more coffee-ish?
Well, cool, first of all. So like they literally have their coffee on a draft line, cool. Which is super fun. I've been told they're the first ones that did that. I don't know if that's true. I'm not that foodie. But, I mean, it's a latte, it's sweetened and it's got a little bit of milk in it, but, I don't know. It's the best iced coffee. So yeah, that's what we'd be having.
That sounds good. I have not been to Philadelphia before, but it sounds like from that coffee, it would almost be worth the trip just to try that coffee.
Oh man. And then we have a convenience store called Wawa that their coffee is like a cultural institution. So, I mean, if I was meeting you for coffee, it would be at La Colombe. If you were at my house, we would be having Wawa. So
very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the name too, Wawa. I've seen those before when I've traveled for business, and I remember calling my husband for the first time, being like, "There's a gas station called Wawa here."
Yeah, we have a relationship with Wawa in this part of the world. So, when I had my wedding, we had people from all over the show come, and it was like part of my life's mission that weekend to have them fall in love with Wawa. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, very cool. We'll go ahead and dive into the topic at hand. So the question that I ask everybody for these coffee chats is, what specifically motivates you in your business?
Oh gosh. So part of my business personally is that I wear a couple different hats. I'm the COO of a network of companies that are in a bunch of different places. And for that particular job, what motivates me to get out of my bed is my employees. And the fact that I get to serve this incredibly diverse group of men and women in multiple states and multiple countries. And they are absolutely what gets me out of bed, because I believe it's my job to make their job helping our customers as easy as possible. So, and then for my main hat, which is I'm the executive director of a success facilitation company called Abbey Research, where we are all about making you exceed your own expectations, helping you and your organization. And for me, the answer is whoever our client is. And our client at that point could be a big company. It could be one individual. It could be everybody we follow on Instagram. Whoever we're interacting with that day is who gets me out of bed. I orient my life to others. So if my presence in someone's life has made their life better that day, then I've done my job.
Very cool. And that's really insightful for you to know kind of what makes you tick every day, what brings you joy. My particular question for you, as far as being the COO, so you're the first person that I've interviewed that has a company with multiple employees and again, the diversity that you have. How do you inspire motivation in the teammates that you lead?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm very fortunate to First of all, there's a two-part answer. Let me say that. First of all, we make a lot of products that nobody else in the world makes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a lot of innate motivation around here to make sure stuff gets out the door on time, because if we don't, there's a global shortage, and it's not insignificant things. It's the dye that diagnoses cancer. It's, a glaucoma stain to make sure that people's health is okay. So we have a lot of innate motivation to make sure things get out the door on time. So I'm very fortunate in that. And second of all, I work with my brother. We're rising generation to take over from our father who started the company. And my brother is one of those people that people will walk through fire backwards for. And so he inspires just innate loyalty in folks, and he works very, very hard to maintain that. So my job is to make sure that he's doing his. He kind of hangs out with our folks a whole lot more than I do. I do a lot more of the behind the scenes stuff. I make sure their health insurance is paid on time. I make sure their payroll is accurate. I do a lot of that stuff to make sure that Brian can keep them going on the days where it's 115 in the back and we still need them to fire up the boiler and effort.
Oh no, I think I lost you for a minute.
I'm back. So all I said was, in that way, it's a total team effort. And I'm a big believer that motivation of any group of people is never on the shoulders of one person. So I'm really fortunate to have a teammate who believes in that as strongly as I do.
Awesome. Very cool. So working with your brother, have you seen how he builds his motivation?
Yeah, he is a huge believer in pointing out people's strengths. So he knows everybody that works. We're really small. I know when I say what we do, we may sound really large. We're about 28 people in the building. Yeah. So that's really helpful too. We know the names of everybody that works with us. We know their spouses. We know their children. And so a lot of it's just natural curiosity. And natural, how are you doing? What's going on? We both run open door policies, as does our father. We want to be co-problem solvers, things like that. But I think more than anything, what Brian does is help people understand that we really are all in this together. That old High School Musical song is a joking mantra around here. But we are all, there are different titles and different responsibilities, but fundamentally everybody in this building, their job is to serve the customer. Yeah. And so if you're having a hard time doing that day, let us know. We're going to help you solve the problem, whether that's personal or professional. One of the reasons I actually work here is I'm also a certified social worker. And we decided to try to see if we could change the definition of HR and make HR more social work focused. So all of our folks, I'm not a licensed therapist, so I certainly don't conduct therapy sessions, but I can do a lot more than a typical HR folk can do. And so I'll help them navigate the free legal aid system in Philadelphia. I'll help people figure out how to do basic anger management techniques. I'll refer them out to licensed therapists. And so if he's really struggling with somebody or someone's really struggling, I'm also a resource for that on that end. So I think my biggest advice to people for inspiring motivation is to know your folks. Because the answer is not unilateral for everybody. And so you've got to know your folks and you have to build trust to where when you tell them they can do it, they know it's not just a Hallmark card. You legit believe in them because you know that they've done it before and they'll do it again. And we'll solve it together.
Absolutely. And I love the concept of knowing your folks. And that doesn't have to be necessarily even someone that is a full-time employee. It can be contractors. It can be collaborators. It can be coworkers, even with you and your brother. And that's why I asked that question of, do you know what motivates him?
Oh, totally.
It's really important to have those open and honest conversations about knowing what motivates each other so we can continue to build each other up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, for both of us, the answer is our people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we intentionally are taking this company. Our father isn't forcing it on us.
Yeah.
And I mean, people are constantly amazed that that we're doing this so intentionally. Yeah. Neither my brother or I have business backgrounds. My father didn't have a chemistry background when he bought this place. He taught himself chemistry. So for us, it is the people we work with and the customers we serve.
Yeah, absolutely. So the interesting thing that you said is that, the people, the customers are what bring you motivation, really meeting their needs. But the question that I have for you is, For someone who is starting up and is not necessarily getting a lot of feedback, and I know you're in a little bit of different situation where you're taking over a legacy business, but what would you say for folks that are not in a position of getting a lot of feedback right now? How do they build their motivation?
That's so hard. I mean, first of all, hear me say that it's really hard. And if you're struggling with it, it is 100% normal. And it is, I mean, as much of I'm a believer that normal is simply a setting on a tumble dryer, there are certainly things that are common to the human experience. And when you're starting something new and you just feel like you're shouting into the void, it's really crappy.
Yeah.
And I deal with that in my division, because I'm taking over this legacy of the products that we're selling, but with a service business, we're really starting something new. And so when I started in the beginning, it was a lot of like, oh my God, is this ever going to work? Am I this crazy person? Am I the only one that thinks this is a good idea? Am I the only one that thinks that my talent can be used this way? Why don't people find me useful? Does nobody like me? What's going on? I went down a million rabbit trails. And during that time, I had a really great tribe around me whose entire job was to say, no, the call is to be faithful to this. And you don't abandon the call when days are tough. And you don't abandon the call because you don't have any short-term gratification. I feel in the very fiber of my being that the way that I can serve the universe best is to help people see the best in themselves and to help them strategically plan for how they navigate that in whatever. I firmly believe that I am here to help people. And so on a day that I don't help someone, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I get really down on myself. And so I was very intentional about the people that I get really vulnerable with. I'm a huge believer that there's a difference between vulnerability and discretion. So I get really, really vulnerable publicly quite a lot. I talk a lot about my struggles. I have no problem with that, but there's a core, and they're the only ones that see the bits of me that I need to be really discreet about. And so those folks, I kind of outsourced my emotions. I outsourced my self-esteem to them in that season of my life. And I said, I can't hold on to this hope by myself. And I can't hold on to this vision by myself because I feel like I'm shouting into the wilderness. And these wonderful people, not only my family, but this wonderful tribe of women I have around me said, okay, that's our job. So when you have a moment where you think you're going to quit, you call us. And when you think it's all falling apart, first of all, we're going to tell you it's not. And if you do need to change something, we're going to tell you that. And I am, if you can't tell from this interview already, I'm a firm believer that no one lives life alone. And that we're actually not chemically able to, that we are chemically wired for connection. And so that was my answer. When I don't have anything, when I didn't have anything within me, there were people in my life who had stuff within them they could lend me. And that's my biggest piece of advice. If you are a solopreneur, and you don't have anyone in your life right now who is going to help you shape that part of you, please call me and I will help you be that. I will be that person for you. Because I don't care if you're the CEO of Comcast or if you are starting a business in your basement, you literally cannot do it alone. And even if you're the only person making the widget that you're selling or the only person selling the LuLaRoe out of your basement, you cannot do it alone. And you got to find people that believe in you harder than you believe in yourself, because you will very rarely believe in yourself.
Wow. Can we just hashtag all of that right there? Some really, really good words of wisdom for Kristen. So thank you so much for being here and having this conversation with me. I think it's so value added to talk about what motivates you and where you really find your motivation. And Kristen, I think I could probably talk to you all day because you have a fantastic story. But for those that are here on Planet Internet, where's the best place to find you and what you're doing?
That's a great question. So the best place to find me is the Abby Research Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/Abby Research, ABBEY, research spelled like it is in the English language, no secrets, and or our website, which is abby-research.com.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time, Kristen, and everybody have a fantastic Monday.
Yep. Bye, everyone.
Bye.